And welcome to a new game. This is the Hand of Glory. So this here has got two parts. It's got part 1 and part 2, but because it's a new game we are going to start. So we're going to skip the tutorial, so I'm just going to be quiet for a second.
This story begins where many others generally end. At the time, I worked for a detective agency known as HPD, but I couldn't know then what the acronym really meant. I don't think I ever really knew. For a few months, I'd been on the trail of the man the press not very originally renamed Blowtorch. A clue led me to the extreme outskirts of Miami, in a little out-of-the-way suburb that smelled like rotten fish.
Operator, the caller you have dialed is unavailable. Do you want to leave a message?
Bundy, knock it off. Judging from the traffic noise, I'd say you disobeyed my orders.
Hey, I just went out for a ride on my bike. What's the harm?
At 10 in the evening, I told you to stay home. The case is ours. We're already racing to the scene of the tip-off.
But the cavalry's already here, boss. Let me find one of those clues that Blowtorch left for me, and we will stop the next murder before you even divorce your third wife.
I'm on my 4th, Bundy, and I will never understand why that killer keeps leaving clues just for you.
Do you need to ask? Because I'm his archenemy, his nemesis, his worst nightmare.
More like he enjoys leaving you every time grasping a handful of air.
Oh yeah. Remind me again, old man. Who stopped the Puerto Rican surgeon and the arsonist of the southeast coast? And what about the...
All old news, Bundy. You haven't caught a break for a long time, and for months you've been following Blowtorch without any results. Why don't you go on holiday and let us do the work?
I'm in Miami, dude. Working here is a holiday.
I'm serious, Lars. Give it up.
Listen, boss. I will limit myself to a stealth approach. Identify the victim's flat. I write everything down. I smoke a cigarette. I admire the skyline. I wait for reinforcements. No shootout planned.
That would be difficult, since you never carry a gun with you.
Well, once a chick told me that the weapon at my side makes me clumsy.
Don't cause any shit, Bundy. We'll be there in a short while.
Okay. That means I have a short while to solve this case.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Bundy, don't screw things up, or I swear...
At previous crime scenes, we always found a letter addressed to me, abandoned in the mailboxes. This time, maybe, I would be able to find that letter before the crime was committed. But I had to hurry.
Right, so pretty much this is a point-and-click game, so it kind of reminds you of the old Broken Sword games, which I absolutely love, especially number 1. Number 2 is a fantastic one as well. 3 and 4 started dropping off with them, to be fair, but again, this gives us something new to do. So I've already done this once, so and the reason because I filmed it last week, went to edit the video and it sounded horrible, so I'm just playing it again. So if you do notice, I am flying through the first 2 episodes, and that is why. So let's have a look in the flask.
Maybe there was still something useful in Green Dart's flask. Normally I would have filled it with scotch, but I didn't want to find myself in Orlando investigating a red whale again. Like last time. Hey, there really was some scotch after all. Scotch tape, I mean.
So pretty much what happens is if you come over here, a little bit piece of the sidewalk comes up.
Here's what the text...
And then basically you've got to do it a few times.
The conditions of that sidewalk were getting worse.
So...
A stone bigger than the others just fell off the sidewalk. And who was I not to accept the kind gifts from Providence?
So basically, this is one of them games you've got to go through the motions of it anyway. Pretty much with any point and click. So obviously you can see straight away there's a smiley face, and the buttons is pretty much there.
It wouldn't help me in any way. I couldn't buzz the whole building without a clue.
So then obviously you can go over to the smiley face.
Someone left a stupid smiley on the intercom.
Right, so let's come out of here now, and let's have a look at the mailbox.
I looked at the various mailboxes and found what I was looking for. An abandoned envelope with no writing or stamps. The only problem remaining was how to open the mailbox. Maybe using something thin for leverage.
Basically, what you're doing then is just get your badge, put it up to it.
My badge wasn't exactly the right tool to wedge this open with, but it was worth a try. The only thing I accomplished was jamming the badge into the narrow crack above the mailbox.
And then pretty much what you do then is you get your stone.
The way it was stuck, the badge would act as a chisel.
Bash it open like so.
As usual, the letter was ripped and written with invisible ink. With Scotch tape, I would be able to easily reassemble it. Well, I'd have to think about the invisible ink later.
Right, so then basically what we're going to do now is just redo this.
With Scotch tape, I would be able to easily reassemble it.
There we are.
I would have stuck the Scotch tape in the back of the letter, so as to obtain the best readability. I always hated puzzles.
So now you can see it's a bit of a puzzle, but it's relatively simple. Yeah, there's nothing really too
If I have to waste time on this,
and
I hate this
you can
stuff.
see what I'm doing here, most of it is pretty much you get it in the vicinity anyway. It's,
Once I received a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle as a present. I sold it to my nephew.
if you're playing these type of games, anyway, you've got a bit of
It wasn't as difficult as I feared.
you get generally an idea of what you're doing when you're playing these games.
At that point, I just had to find a way to read the message hidden in the letter. Well, I remembered that to reveal invisible ink, you just have to warm it. Where could I find a source of heat that late at night?
So then, when I originally playing this, I thought we could potentially use this here, or maybe if he had a light on his bike, but he doesn't. So the only way we can do it is put it up to the vending machine as a heat extractor.
The vending machine's engine emitted a faint heat, maybe intense enough to show the hidden writing on the letter. At first, nothing happened. I was about to give up when it happened. The first characters appeared.
So even round here, I thought maybe we could unplug it. So to the kind attention of Detective Bundy, I am deeply disappointed, Detective, by the incompetence with which you're dealing with a case of the fanatic killer known as Blowtorch. As a citizen and a regular taxpayer, I am worried about my safety, so much that I've decided to help you gather your thoughts. What do we know about him, then? He's male, of course, just between us. A sissy couldn't create a similar masterpiece, right? Did you see the accuracy of which the eyes of the poor girl were extracted from their socket without corrupting the flesh around? With a blowtorch, for Christ's sake. That leads us to assume that a certain craftsmanship. He's an artist, maybe a painter. As the last letter, I suggest the plumber. Nobody ever thinks of a plumber with all the obsessions over butlers, and we now know his initials. I think that would be enough for a detective with a reputation as high as yours, as a skyscraper like yours, fondly a normal citizen with a taxpayer. So a few things we can see from here. We can obviously see the smiley, which we did see on the board. And what we're going to do now is just press go through all of these.
The letters were always kindly addressed to me. Blowtorch's tone ranged from disappointment to encouragement, with a barely concealed desire for recognition. The forensic guys had no doubt about the gender of the killer just after the first murder. The reason for their certainty wasn't the accuracy of the burns, so much as the various bruises found on the bodies, which displayed extraordinary force. The usual outburst in the middle of a letter that until then seemed thoughtful and balanced. Then I saw the emoticon at the end of the paragraph. That was new. I guess Blowtorch tried to be funny at times, the only result being to appear even creepier. The last paragraph was surely hiding a clue. The murderer was even directing us to a specific profession. The initials in the last paragraph were found in the previous letter, but they were too vague a clue to narrow down the scope of the investigation. The usual closing format. Blowtorch constantly described himself as a normal citizen and a regular taxpayer. I don't know why, but that format made me
So
mad.
now we're just going to click the smiley.
That face. In his earlier letters, Blowtorch never left anything similar. I took a mental note. That smile left on the letter and the one on the intercom were identical, so I could rule out a simple coincidence. I had just identified the apartment I was looking for.
Right, so pretty much we know what the apartment is now, but no one's obviously going to let us in, so let's just go over it just to click the button.
The apartment was registered to a certain G. Glover.
So we know the,
I hoped I got there in
obviously
time.
know the name of the guy now.
Yes? Who is it?
I'm Detective Bundy from HPD. If you don't mind, I need to ask you some questions. He didn't answer immediately. Moments of total silence passed, during which I thought he had hung up.
Sorry for the hesitation, but I really don't understand what you would want from me. I'm just a normal citizen who...
Yes, of course. But I really need, and I mean really need, to talk to you. With a certain urgency, too. Can you open the front door?
I hate to be a killjoy, but you have a warrant. I don't want to get into trouble with my landlord.
You know what? I guess I forgot it in my other hand. Anyway, I already told you that...
Listen, the landlord is a real pain in the ass, and I don't want any trouble.
If it's such a big deal, you won't have any problem coming back with a warrant. Good night.
In my entire career, I had never been mistreated like that by someone I had to protect. Despite the fact that the guy was an idiot, I couldn't let him be killed in cold blood. Besides the front door, the only visible way in seemed to be the fire escape above.
Right, so now we've pretty much got to get up here. So what we do is click on the logate, and
Maybe in that alley, I would find alternative access to the
for
building.
some strange reason, he ends up there, which is really strange. So then,
It didn't seem so high from the street.
Fucking Bundy. Come on. So then just
In that moment, I thought of the hundreds of baseball games I'd seen while living in America, and I had a real moment of epiphany. The greatest champions in history were looking at me from the sky, cheering for me and waving their arms. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the newest member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, Lazarus Stonearm Bundy! Give it up for the only, the incomparable, Lazarus Bundy!
see that always baffled me. That, you know, like, yeah, never mind, it's a game. So basically what we've got to do now is climb up there. It always struck me as a bit weird why it's called Bundy, and all I can ever think of is Ted Bundy.
Lazarus Bundy in my place. Who'd have thought it?
Here's my man. All 7'5" of a man, to be exact. Well, so much the better. If things got out of hand, he could protect me.
Lazarus Bundy, what are you doing? I still had some surprises in store for you. Instead, it's already time to put an end to our game.
Just then, I knew I misunderstood the whole situation.
Other word.
Things went down dramatically. I had no gun, as always, and I had to deal with a mastodon ready to kill his next victim. Burton would surely arrive with backup shortly after. But, how shortly? Moreover, we were convinced we had to protect the man who instead just revealed himself to be the monster we were hunting. I thought of sending a text to warn him, but I had no credit on my phone, having accidentally subscribed to a live weather service. I was in more danger than ever, but at least I knew the weather was fine in Baltimore. One thing was for sure, I couldn't wait anymore.
So basically what we've got to do now is get in.
That beast towered over me. but a bottle in the right spot would put anyone to sleep. I had to hold my breath. The slightest noise would betray me. Never mind.
And it always baffled me how he didn't turn around straight away. No. What you do, you pretty much just hide under the table.
I told you to close that sewer hole, you slut! If I hear even one more whisper, I'll be forced to use more brutal methods than usual. Is that clear?
Right, so now we've pretty much got to get her out. But obviously if he catches all of you, he's going to kill you, so what I do?
Could be.
Set an alarm on your phone.
I had a pretty good idea of how to distract the threatening big guy.
Alarm on, and then what you do?
I just have gone from the frying pan into the fire. I just have gone from the
Yes.
I was desperate and in dire straits. I could do nothing but go for broke.
Look what you made me do, slut! First, I need to recover that damn phone that I still don't know how you managed to keep from me. Then, we'll settle up.
Right, so what we've got to do now? Close the storage. There we are. Because you can actually die and if you've not saved it, you know, starting all over again.
Stay calm. I'll get you out of here in a split second. Hurry! Run! I'll hold him.
That's it, guys, for this episode. I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.